Sim Settlements is already one of, if not the best mod for Fallout 4. I imagine most people that have played it will put it in like their top 5 mods, myself included. I'd probably put it in my like top 2 to 3. And that's just on the initial release version. Following that, we got Industrial Revolution. That was an expansion pack for Sim Settlements, adding in new features as well as adding in new plot types. That was awesome, and it was honestly unheard of for a mod to get an expansion pack. A few have done it in the past, but nothing on this scale to this many people. There's been some teasers in the past and talks about how Sim Settlements was getting a second expansion pack, and the trailer for this released yesterday. If you haven't watched it, I'm going to have a link to it down below. I would check it out. It's a really good watch and really well edited. But to summarize more or less what this is, it's going to be called Sim Settlements Rise of the Commonwealth. And although right now, in order to create a settlement or a sim settlement, you'll have to place down plots of land, with this new expansion pack, you're no longer going to even have to do that. It seems like settlements will be built up themselves by settlers, totally without you, totally autonomous. So basically now, as you explore through the Commonwealth, you may stumble upon a city that you didn't build, the settlers built. I'm showing you some of the footage from the trailer in the background. Again, I really encourage you guys to check that out. Subscribe to King Geth. On his channel, you can find consistent updates and walkthroughs as to what those updates entail, but even beyond that, he actually looks at a lot of the community creations and add-ons for Sim Settlements. Regardless, everything I'm showing you in the trailer, in the background, and everything in that trailer was made by settlers. It wasn't handmade, it wasn't made by, well, it was at some point made by a person, but in the actual game, the settlers are doing this totally on their own from no intervention from the player. That's crazy. That's honestly what I hoped for in the settlement system when I originally saw it, and one of my major complaints about it. It seems like now the settlement system is going to be something that can work concurrently as you do a playthrough. You can stumble upon small cities, go to their shops, meet the people there, and really every playthrough you should hypothetically see different things. That's not exactly confirmed. It may be just using a fixed plot type, like one massive settlement size plot, and it's just built up, but still there is going to be some randomization within that, I imagine, as Sim Settlements has that naturally even within plot types. All around, this looks amazing. There's a lot of other features coming with this also, new plot types as well as interplots. So the way I think this is going to work is basically you could place down, like, let's say one really quite large plot. Let's just call it an apartment building, but then within that you could place subsequent plots that are kind of smaller in scale and invariably randomizable. Maybe in that apartment building you could have 2 floors being just residential, but then the bottom floor will have some commercial, so you have shops in there also. Again, I'm not 100% on how that works. I've only watched the trailer like you guys, but regardless, interplots are coming, which sounds really freaking cool. Even beyond that, another thing we find out about is a dynamic soundscape. So basically, if you're in a city or a more urban setting where a lot of the buildings are built up, it's going to sound differently than if you're in more of a sparse farmland that have maybe a few intermittent buildings. This also kind of hints at the fact that some of these pre-placed plots, the things that will build up on their own, will have different paths or maybe go at different rates. It also seems like you could help or aid some of these. It's not really clear if you'll ever be able to take control of them on your own. I imagine some of them you will be, but it does say you can donate resources to these. I imagine that's going to spur up the urbanization, allow some of the buildings to get upgraded, and all around just see more things being built there. Towards the end of the trailer, there's just kind of a list off of some of the new features coming. A visitor system, so maybe there's going to be like a tourism aspect now, a tax overhaul, the ability to share resources, so maybe you could establish trade routes between 2 sim settlements and then have them interact or trade resources that way. And again, maybe this is just me, but I'm super hyped for this. Sim Settlements is awesome. It's a ton of fun to use, but it still was something you had to do. One of my big gripes with settlement mode is I wish there was just settlements you could stumble upon that were fully built. It seems like this is going to occur with this new expansion pack, and even beyond that, it's going to happen organically as you're playing the game, which is awesome. So maybe at one point you'll pass by this settlement and, you know, be just starting off. There'll be a few people there with little shacks. You'll go do a bunch of quests and come back many days later and you'll find that it's been way built up and expanded greatly. That's surreal. That's awesome that a mod is doing this in Fallout 4. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. I thank you for watching. Link to the full trailer down below. Check it out if you haven't. And yeah, I hope to see you guys all next time. Later.